How was it for you to get a part in a series like this?
Incredibly exciting for a myriad of reasons. I think Philip K. Dick is a massive draw, just because he was incredibly productive. I'm always blown away by the fact that the man could write 5 novels in a year. I don't know that that's very common. But the scope of this project is enormous, which is both terrifying and, thrilling. Very exciting to work on this.
What is this?
Newsreel film. It shows us winning the war.
We didn't win the war.
Was it easy to find a way into that world? Was it easy to imagine that world?
Yes and no. We created a whole new world. I mean, I think it was easy just because of the sets that they created and kind of stepping into the outfits. And I think that was the easy part. But just kind of having to pontificate on what it would be like to live in this kind of world, that was tough. So you just really have to go into your imagination and kind of separate yourself from your own reality, our reality today. So that's tough.
Your character's called Joe Blake, a very conventionally American name. So I'm assuming that your parents were American?
Yeah, well, that's what it is. The Nazis have integrated with the Americans. You'll come to find out who my father is. My father's a very important individual in the Nazi world. My mother was an American, so it's kind of integrated.
Right. There's a sense, I don't know whether I'm reading too much into it, but there was a sense that you could perhaps actually be a triple agent. Mm-hmm. Is that deliberate?
I don't want to give too much away.
Right.
Just because my character is very secret. I mean, we dropped that bomb at the end of the episode, so you have to tune in and you'll see.
Now, there's a incident. Your sister dies in the pilot episode, and that kind of it seems to politically change you from being someone who is law-abiding and just getting on with life to someone who actually is on a crusade. Is that fair?
Very much, that's fair. I mean, I think she's kind of unique in the world she lives in the sense that she's very intrigued by the Japanese culture, which is not to be expected, being that, her backstory is such that her family was killed by the Japanese, and so it's very odd in the world she lives in that she would be intrigued by the culture, that she would have an appreciation for the culture, for Aikido, for various elements. But yes, she's sort of keeping her head down and trying, but ultimately inside there's a part of her that believes that there's more. And adversity isn't something that really keeps her down. She's kind of she's got a bit of mischief in her. But yes, this thing falls into her hands, something tangible that propels her into a completely different way of life, ultimately.
Now, it's interesting, Amazon, have entered into the world of television in a pretty big way. Was it a different working on an Amazon production than anything else you worked on?
Very much so. Yeah, there's a liberty, a creative freedom that I've not experienced, especially in television. It felt very much like a film. In some ways, Luke's right in saying that it felt a little bit like an independent film in the sense that we were really collaborating and inspiring each other and brainstorming and talking and discussing. And Frank Spotnitz was amazing in being not only incredibly magnanimous when it came to our ideas and listening and incorporating, but it was very different. Amazon's a very different world to work in, and beautiful.
Yeah,
really.
There's a lot of style. It must have been wonderful. I mean, even though it's a politically difficult time, there's a lot of style.
Yeah,
Attention.
It's aesthetically, I think the show is pretty spectacular because we're living. Obviously, it's 1962, so it looks like a period piece. It looks like it would be historical, and then to sort of have all these, the alternate reality obviously changes the tapestry, but they're also a bit behind the times. It's not the 60s that we know. That world that doesn't exist. We don't know those, those elements. So yeah, it's a beautiful mixture of lots of things.
And the fantasy of it too is there's that element as well, coupled with the alternate reality, and I think there's a lot going on, and it's intriguing.